I ruined Christmas dinner. I haven't stopped smiling since. My family does a Christmas tradition where we go around the table and everyone says one nice thing about each person. Grandma started it forever ago. Sweet idea. Brought us all together. Then my dad married Karen and she turned it into something else entirely. Every year Karen would smile at me and deliver a compliment that wasn't really a compliment. Year 1. I think it's brave that you dress the way you do. Year 2. I admire how you don't let your career hold you back from enjoying life. Year 3. It's refreshing that you're not obsessed with your weight like other girls. Year 4. I love that you've lowered your expectations. Less disappointment that way. Year 5. I'm glad you're comfortable being single. Not everyone needs love. Every single year, a knife wrapped in a smile. The family would laugh politely, and dad would nod along like nothing happened. I'd sit there feeling sick and say nothing. 6 years I put up with it. 6 years I dreaded Christmas because of her. 3 weeks before Christmas, everything changed. I was at dad's house helping with decorations while Karen was out shopping. Dad asked me to grab some lights from the bedroom closet, and that's when I found it. A journal tucked behind some sweaters on the top shelf. I opened it without thinking. The first page I saw had my name written across it. What I read next made me feel like the floor had dropped out from under me. Entry after entry tearing me apart. She called me fat, lazy, a waste of space. She wrote about how she wished dad never had kids from his first marriage. She wrote about slowly convincing him to pull away from me so he wouldn't notice until it was too late. She wrote about the inheritance and her plan to make sure I was cut out completely. Then I found an entry about my birthday last year. Karen had convinced dad to skip it, told him to fake being sick. I remembered that day clearly. Sitting alone at a restaurant for 2 hours, checking my phone, waiting. He never showed up. I took photos of every page. For 3 weeks I didn't sleep right. Didn't know what to do with what I'd found. Then Christmas Eve arrived. We all sat down at dad's house for dinner. Grandma started the tradition. When it was Karen's turn, she looked at me with that same sweet smile. I'm so proud of how you've learned to accept mediocrity. Not everyone can do that. The table laughed softly. Dad nodded along. Something inside me snapped clean in half. It was my turn next. I stood up from my chair. Everyone went quiet. I told them I had something different this year. Karen looked amused like she was expecting something pathetic. I took out my phone and said I wanted to share a few words that really stuck with me. Then I started reading. The entry where Karen wrote that she wished my dad never had kids from his first marriage. Karen's face rose. I kept going. The entry about how she'd been convincing dad to pull away from me so slowly he wouldn't even notice. Dad stopped chewing. I read the entry about my birthday. How Karen told him to skip it and pretend to be sick. Dad put down his fork. I watched the memory hit him. The lie he told me that day. I read the entry about the inheritance. Her plan to make sure I got nothing. By now the whole room was completely still. Karen stood up and her voice came out high and panicked. She asked where I got that. I looked right at her and said, "Your diary. Top shelf of the closet behind your sweaters." She turned to dad waiting for him to take her side, to yell at me for invading her privacy. He didn't. He just sat there staring at her like he was seeing a stranger. Karen started crying. Said I was taking things out of context. Said everyone vents sometimes. I read one last entry. The one where she called me an embarrassment she couldn't wait to get rid of. Karen grabbed my dad's arm and begged him to say something. Anything. He pulled away from her without a word. Grandma broke the silence. She looked at Karen and said, "You need to leave. Now." Karen looked around the table desperate for a single ally. There wasn't one. She grabbed her purse and walked out. The door slammed so hard the windows rattled. Nobody moved. Then my dad looked at me with tears in his eyes. "I'm sorry. I didn't know." We ate the rest of Christmas dinner without Karen. It was weird at first, but Grandma started telling stories about when dad was a kid, and slowly the tension melted away. Before I left, dad pulled me aside. He apologized for missing my birthday, for all the times he didn't see what was happening right in front of him. A week later, he called and said he filed for divorce. Said he couldn't look at Karen the same way anymore. Some people think I went too far. That reading her diary out loud was cruel. That I ruined Christmas. Maybe I did. But Karen spent 6 years ruining mine, one backhanded compliment at a time. She finally got a taste of what it feels like when the whole room sees who you really are. I slept better that night than I had in years.